French bread, French guys, French horn, French fries.
There's a lot of shit out there that hails from the land of berets and horizontal stripes, from your friend Becky's cute manicure that costs too much, to the way you and a loved one mash your food holes together when you want to bone down. As it turns out, movies are no different. French movies have been a thing for approximately a fucktillion years, but for realsies French cinema, or Kino, as some virgins like to call it, was invented sometime around the late 50s with a little number called the French New Wave. Welcome to Very Legitimate Film School. I'm your professor, Tommy the Commie, meat thick like salami, fucking on your bitch, she call me mommy. That's fucking stupid. That's an awfully hot coffee pot. The French New Wave, or FNW, as we like to say on this side of the pond, is a film movement that focused on hyperrealism and the use of available resources. Films from the French New Wave ended up popularizing a lot of great techniques, like long handheld sequences, natural lighting, using jump cuts to show the passage of time, and the ultimate flex of making a movie with $12. These techniques would prove extremely influential, and the style can be seen gently tickling the taints of films such as Lost in Translation, The Graduate, Dog Day Afternoon, and Shark Tale. Films of the French New Wave also had a lot of overlap thematically. A common trope was doomer-ass depressed youths realizing that they live in a society and promptly having existential night terrors and doing general crime. You may even see one of these hunky, muff-slamming protagonists straight up kill someone. You're in the Wild West now, Buster! But yeah, a lot of French New Wave movies are about young dudes getting upset at God and then making bad decisions.
Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
The French New Wave was invented shortly after a little boy band called the Third Reich stopped being the painful growth in Europe's asshole. Naturally, this meant that Germany's restrictions on the French film industry were lifted, and filmmaking became an actual thing you could do there again. Fast forward a few years, and now France has whole magazines dedicated just to film. Basically, the magazines were just a bunch of old, Rotten Tomatoes-ass nerds constantly telling everyone in France how dope their taste in movies was. Oh, what's that? You liked Avatar? Did you eat too many dumb bitch hash browns that turned you into a dumb bitch for breakfast? So basically, a bunch of these film critics who wrote for the magazines were conversing over a warm baguette, and one of them said, "Hey, you know how production companies get credit for movies? What if that happened for directors instead?" This led to the rise of auteur theory, or the idea that a film is the result of only one person's vision, and that one person gets all the responsibility and therefore all the credit. A modern director that we would associate with auteur theory is Quentin Tarantino, because he's a real piece of shit. Yeah, I don't know if you've picked up on it yet, but auteur theory is kind of the atomic wedgie of the film industry. It completely ignores everyone behind the scenes except for the writer-director, and implies that films are way more easily made than they actually are. This shit's got gaffers and PAs rolling up to the drive-thru like, "Yeah, can I get a large appreciation with a side of not wanting to off myself?" Basically what I'm saying is that while auteur theory did rightfully get filmmakers recognized for their work, it's also been co-opted by clout chasers and completely undermines the collaborative nature of filmmaking. Two big proponents of auteur theory from the magazines, Jean-Luc Picard and Francis Truffles, went on to be the founding fathers of the French New Wave. There were plenty of other directors associated with the movement, but these are the guys everyone tweets about when they want to feel smart. These directors can sort of be seen as the big boy pants for budding cinephiles. I dare you to tell me right now if you've ever seen a more ballin' director than our boy Goddard here. I mean, the fucking drip off this guy. Slap some damn emojis on that photo. To get a more bitchin' perspective of the movement, I'm going to take a gander at the plots of two films from the French New Wave, which also happen to be our two auteurs' debut features, The 400 Blows and Breathless.
Please enjoy our featured presentation.
So the 400 Blows opens with a bunch of horny boys passing around some lewd photography, aka lay only fans. But surprise, turns out Mr. Professor Man's not having it, and he locks poor little turtleneck Andy in the classroom while the other kids get to go outside and beat the shit out of each other. This teacher is very responsible. So the next day, this kid, whose name is actually Antoine, is on his way to school and he sees none other than some fucking kid. This kid is, spoiler alert, a little bit of a troublemaker, and convinces Antoine to play hooky with him. Needless to say, these two little terrorists get down to some pretty badass stuff. They go see an R-rated movie with violence and a bunch of titties. They go on this crazy carnival ride that makes gravity fuck off and die. They see Antoine's mom making out with a stranger. Oh man, that wasn't supposed to happen. So yeah, it turns out mommy here is playing a little hooky of her own, if you're picking up what I'm spewing out. So Antoine goes to school the next day with no alibi. Mr. Professor Man wants to know where he was, and dumb little doo-doo ass Antoine decides that this is the perfect time to try out this new thing called fucking himself. He says that his mom fucking died, and that's why he was absent for the day. Oh dear, I wonder where this conflict will go. This conflict is resolved in the very next scene, where Antoine's folks show up at the school literally just to slap the shit out of him. Antoine then decides he's had enough, and he hates this town. So he's gonna run away and live in a print shop like a goddamn teenage newsy ninja turtle. I wonder how long this conflict is gonna last. Oh, it's resolved in the very next scene again? Fucking epic. So Antoine decides during dinner one night that he wants to resurrect the corpse of this guy named Ballsack, as one does. So he does this spell with this box on the wall and lights the ancient candle of fucking Patrick Swayze or whatever and goes to dinner. At some point the dad goes, "Hey, what's cooking?" This brings us to the multiple choice section of the video. So, what is cooking? Is it A, a big ol' pot of beans, B, a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli yum yum, C, a egg, or D, the house is on fire? The parents reward Antoine for nearly leaving them homeless by way of hellish inferno by going out to see a little Rocky Horror Picture Show, where apparently Dad here was just ogling boobies the whole time. So Antoine has another school-related mishap when he writes a paper about this Ballsack guy, and it turns out he just copied and pasted from Le Wikipedia and gets kicked out of class. His troublemaker friend from earlier is like, "Dude, we should move in together and start a sick-ass band." So Antoine here starts living in Dude's house, hiding from mean old daddy a la Anne Frank. Antoine and friend decide that they need money, so they try to steal a typewriter from where Big Papa works so they can pawn it, but get, as they say on the mean streets of France, got, and Big Papa is none too pleased. Dad is mad, and Antoine gets sent to Joseph Stalin's preparatory school for dumb shits, aka prison with table manners. Soon, Antoine's mom shows up, and boy does she have some beef to settle. She basically says, "Hey idiot, your father and I hate your guts, and we're sending you to poor people camp." Antoine says fuck that and does a 360 no-scope prison prank during an intense game of fake soccer. He runs away to this beach to reflect upon his new life of homelessness, and then the movie ends. Fun. And by the way, I didn't edit this, the movie actually ends with this goofy-ass freeze-frame zoom. So what did we learn from the 400 Blows? If your parents don't love you, don't be a dumb shit and give them 1,000,001 reasons to send your dumb big forehead ass to serial killer school. Crime can wait till you're older, you dingus.
Please enjoy presentation.
Our next film, Breathless, opens with this guy who looks like my friend Steven in a bad Frank Sinatra costume. This guy's name is Michael, and in case you can't tell, he's pretty epic. Michael goes all Grove Street on some asses and steals a car. His lady friend wants to go with him, but he says, "Eat butts, nerd, I'm outta here," and drives away forever. As he rides into the sunset, we get a good insight into Michael's mental state as we watch him talk to his imaginary friend in the passenger seat and play with a gun that he found in the glove box. God punishes him by spawning 2 police officers, who chase him into a corner. One of the cops approaches him and he's like, "Hey, why'd you steal that car? You can't steal cars, that's illegal, you big turkey." The cop obviously isn't aware that Michael keeps that motherfucking fang on him. Michael Suge Knights the fuck out of this guy and runs away like a bitch. My man just wants some breakfast, but he's got so many crimes to do, like breaking into ladies' houses and stealing shit, and oh my god, who's this fine-ass slice of American pie? Someone better call Don McLean, cause I'm about to take my Chevy to the levee if you catch my cold. This is Patricia. Her primary personality traits are she's American, she's got titties,
and she's a fucking snitch, but we'll come back to that. Patricia and Michael have a mysterious and, dare I say, erotic history. They make a date to catch up, and then someone dies in a horrible car accident. But fuck that, Michael's got a newspaper to read, and it says, "You got doxed, piss boy." So now Michael's a fugitive starring Harrison Ford, and he responds to this information by bringing disco back all over fucking Megamind's neck bone. Look at the forehead on this guy, he deserved to get robbed. Cut to Patricia meeting up with this journalist guy. She begins opening up about how she's struggling to find happiness, and she feels like she has no freedom. Homie responds with a story about getting pussy. This wins Patricia over, and they start smooching, but Michael ain't having that shit. Being the respectful simp that he is, Michael does the reasonable thing and breaks into her home so that he can confront her almost completely nude. The conversation goes pretty well. He says he loves her, he almost strangles her, she's a little bit into it. Oopsie poopsie, Patricia's pregnant, everybody wins. This is also where the standout line of the film is spoken.
Monte tes doigts de pied.
Patricia interviews this author guy who keeps posting cringe, and Michael steals some shit and gets cancelled. What else is new? So Patricia goes into work, and this cop is all, "Get on the ground! You have exceeded the horizontal stripe limit! You are under arrest for being in possession of too many horizontal stripes!" He asks her if she knows Michael. She hits him with a fat, "Nah bro, why don't you smell my farts?" But the thing is, she does know him. So, respecting her privacy, this other cop starts following her like a lost chubby child in a Walmart. Luckily, the brave and valiant hero Michael notices thanks to Patricia's extremely subtle signals. Spoiler alert, Michael does literally nothing to rectify the situation. This dude chases Patricia into a dark movie theater, then into a lady's shit closet, and she ends up pulling a pro gamer move out a fucking window or something to escape. And Michael's just fucking vibing in the middle of the road waiting for her. So now that Patricia knows that Michael straight up gatted a police officer, she's way more into him. A true comrade. A calf. All cops are French, so these two horny little night goblins meet up with Michael's criminal friends who let them stay the night. The next day, Patricia decides that all these emotions are just a little too confusing for her dumb American brain, and she calls the fucking police and narcs the shit out of Michael. When she gets back home, Michael's all jacked off like, "Mamma mia, we're going to fucking Italy." But Patricia, being a stone cold Steve Austin, is all like, "You better throw that record in the fucking garbage and put on my favorite reggae album, 12 Inches of Snow, because this bitch just informed on your ass." Michael is only mildly upset by this. The police show up. Michael is a fucking idiot and gets shot right in his butt cheeks. He goes for a quick jog, and the movie ends with this tender moment.
C'est vraiment dégueulasse.
So what did we learn from Breathless? Killing cops will get you laid, but will also probably get you dead. Don't wear a full suit, including a hat, if you intend to outrun the law. Thank you for joining me on this quick perusal of the French New Wave. I hope you learned something, 'cause I didn't learn dick.